I don't really like Sonic Unleashed very much. Is something I probably would have said if you'd asked me my opinion on the game within the last 5.5 years.
How can you even say that, Dad?
Didn't like it.
This is kinda wild when taking into account that I've actually been playing it since 2012, when I was 10 years old. 10 years ago, I probably would have called it my second favorite Sonic game, just behind Generations. Sure, I'd never fully clicked with the Werehog, but those boost stages, man, they were pretty great. There was this beautiful trifecta of boost Sonic games I considered my top 3 in the series: Unleashed, Colors, and Generations. And then, 3 things happened. Number 1, I ended up growing to love 3 and Knuckles and later Mania more than any 3D Sonic. Number 2, I came to love Adventure 2 and Sonic 2 more than Colors. And number 3, I began to like Unleashed less and less over the years. I can't really explain it, but eventually it fell out of my top 10, and then in 2019, after finally getting a PS3, just 1 year before the PS5 released, I replayed Unleashed on that console, and I kinda hated it, honestly. I had basically the opposite arc that the general internet had with this game, going from a pretty mixed reception across the board to basically being the holy grail of Sonic games among most fans, so I certainly felt like the odd one out for a while. I never hated it, I just saw it as mid, honestly. A 6 out of 10, if you will. Looking back on all those years, though, I can say that playthrough in 2019 was done under the worst circumstances possible. I went in with a negative outlook, I wasn't used to PlayStation button icons in a game that heavily relied on QuickTime events, and it was the PS3 version. The only benefit that it offers is an uncapped frame rate, which, even then, the game drops frames so much that it may as well not even matter. I guess I could replay the game at any time, but I don't want to get out my 360 or PS3, and I don't own a Series S or X, so it's not like I'd be able to experience the enhancements of a higher frame rate or anything. God, why couldn't Sega have just ported this game to PC back in the day? If only there was a super convenient way to play this game with all kinds of enhancements like a native PC port could offer. So anyway, on a completely unrelated note, after getting done with a 2-hour road trip last Saturday, most of which was spent reading Fate Stay Night, I checked Twitter and immediately saw a tweet from the account, "Is Sonic Unleashed on PC yet?" Just what happened while I was away. After several long years of waiting, Sonic Unleashed basically got the perfect PC port, and it isn't even that complicated. Last year, a talented programmer named Wiseguy shocked the retro gaming community with the N64 Recompiled project, a program that essentially allows for easy creation of high-quality PC ports of N64 games. The Majora's Mask recompilation he launched along with it basically being the perfect way to replay that game for me. I bring this up because the Unleashed port is pretty similar to that, not really as complex as the Mario 64 or Ocarina of Time decompilations, instead being way more streamlined and easy to set up, almost resembling what an official release could look like. It's also worth noting that the tool to make 360 compilations has been released publicly now, so I mean, if someone wants to make a port of Azura's Wrath, or Afterburner Climax, or maybe even Mushihime-sama Futari, I'd be 100% down to play it. Of course, it has been possible to play Unleashed on PC for some time now through emulators like Xenia and RPCSX3, albeit with some very serious cons that arguably overshadow every pro. I've seen attempts to recreate the game from the ground up for PC, not unlike Project 06, but none ever got anywhere near that close. I think at that point, you're better off just playing the Unleashed Project mod for Generations. Let's of course not forget that Series X and S players have been enjoying the game at 60 FPS for over 3 years now, albeit with the same sub-720p resolution. So, what does this new version offer? Well, just to name a few things: higher resolution and aspect ratio support, a fully customizable frame rate that you can make as low as 15 FPS, or as high as your monitor can go. A bevy of other graphical options you'd expect from any PC game made within the last 10 years. Cute details like the window icon changing based on time of day, cool DualShock and DualSense features like the touchpad support for navigating the globe, or the LED light even changing based on the time of day. All of the achievements from the 360 version carry over within the game itself. DLC integration, which actually increases the texture and lighting quality even further. Far lower input latency than on 7th gen systems, mod support, Xbox 360 and PS3 version differences being a toggleable option, and several more features, plus planned ones that'll likely be implemented in due time. But I've saved the best feature for last. The thing that made me go, Oh my god, Unleashed is finally playable. The Werehog battle theme can be turned off in stages. For the first time in my life, I can listen to and appreciate Jungle Joyride Night, one of the best Sonic songs ever crafted, without being interrupted by... And all of this is without a single compromise. In an era where PC ports seem to be getting worse and worse, this is what all great PC ports should truly strive to be, and is something that not even the best Sonic remasters could ever accomplish. So naturally, as soon as I got home, I fired it up and played through the whole thing in less than a full day. And by the end, I was just left thinking,
Oh my god. I get it.
you see, not only is this just a great technical achievement all around, it also taught me how to once again love Sonic Unleashed. Last time I played Sonic Unleashed in 2019, I had several problems with it, which boiled down to damn near everything except the daytime stages. I particularly took offense with Eggman Land, it seems. This tarnished my view of the game until now, and let me tell you, it's not easy being an Unleashed criticizer in an Unleashed loving world. Because this game is locked behind systems I don't really like using anymore, it hasn't been easy to do another playthrough of this game anytime I felt like I was in a better headspace to try it. Now throw me a port like this and I'll play it no questions asked immediately, and like I said, I beat the whole thing in under a day. The stars very clearly aligned here. Here, let's go through many of my previous reasons for not liking this game and see if they still hold any water. Sun and Moon medals? Maybe my brain has just become too Metroidvania-pilled, but I don't really mind the medal hunting. I happily combed every stage from top to bottom looking for those damn things without breaking a sweat. In fact, I picked up so many along the way that I only needed 4 left to be able to finish the game by the time I reached Jungle Joyride Day, perhaps the most infamous progression gate. But if you really hate them, there is a mod that removes them from progression requirements. Sonic and the Werehog feeling bad at the start? Yeah, I guess the leveling requirements can get a little ridiculous later on, but it doesn't actually take long for the Werehog to start feeling very fun to play. The final boss? Yeah, it has some slow and annoying points and isn't the best Sonic final boss or anything, but I can say I enjoyed it here. Awful frame rate? This was solved even through official means. Tornado sections? Okay, those aren't that great, but they're not terrible. I even managed to S-rank the second one on my first try. QuickTime events? I'm a Bayonetta fan. I only put this here because I wasn't used to PlayStation button icons as much in 2019. And finally, Eggman Land, which, yeah, this was a skill issue. The only problems I really have with it now are enemy-specific, like these gunners.
He's shooting at me! Why is he shooting at me?
And the tightrope shit. That actually does kinda suck. Otherwise, it does a fine job as a final level. Eggman really is Elon Musk, huh? Some of these things are improved thanks to the PC version specifically, but most were honestly just my own growth in skill. I've absolutely gotten better at video games over the years, and to tell you a little secret, I'm actually kinda cracked at Unleashed. I've been able to S-rank levels in this game on my first try, while drunk, and using a Sega Saturn controller. As it turns out, I don't really have any massive criticisms with Unleashed these days. Let's address ways the PC port lessens those criticisms even more then. Graphics. For the past 6 years, I've seen the statement, Unleashed is the best looking Sonic game innumerable times, and it does indeed have strengths the other games lack. The lighting still looks great even by modern standards, and the art direction of putting Sonic in several realistic yet just stylized enough environments gives it a timeless look that's hard to match. The problem comes in more on a technical level though. Unleashed runs just below a full 720p, making it very blurry on both original hardware and even on Series X. Textures are also fairly low quality, only further adding to the blur. The biggest problem though is performance. This game was terribly optimized for PS3 and 360, making the frame rate downright unplayable at times. Now let's just wave a little magic wand here and suddenly boom! All of that is fixed! I can run the game at a full 1440p, 144 FPS, and with the texture and lighting improvements the DLC packs add, that only further helps it feel like a modern remaster of a 7th generation game. And it also helps you take in a lot more of the details and intricacies of the world Sonic Team built here, like how Empire City Night... What the fuck is going on down there? Is Scarecrow attacking? Hey, fun fact, did you ever notice that in the background of Cool Edge Night, there's actually...
Aurora Borealis!
Now, admittedly, I do still kinda prefer Generation's more vivid and varied art direction, but the gap is absolutely not wide between the two. Unleashed certainly edges it out in cutscene quality, though. I know everyone always points out the opening cutscene when trying to illustrate how great Unleashed is, but for my money, the best cutscene in the game is the Perfect Dark Gaia one. It gives me chills just thinking about it. It's such a shame Marza didn't get to do more with the Sonic series, not counting that recent short. In terms of music, while it doesn't actually change any of the music, I truly cannot stress enough how big of an impact the option to turn off the Werehog battle theme is. This is easily my favorite addition out of anything in the Recomp. Unleashed has a great soundtrack through and through, but I feel a bit of the night themes get overshadowed by the day themes. No pun intended. Because the battle theme cuts in so much. It's not like the tracks themselves are ill-suited for battle, they honestly sound pretty fitting a lot of the time. And on the topic of music, there's actually a pretty cool feature carried over from the 360 version. Basically, if you had anything playing in the system's built-in media player, it'll automatically mute the game music so that it doesn't conflict with your audio. A feature I actually think I remember using back in the 360 days, which would have been well over a decade ago at this point. God, can you believe this game's gonna be legal adult next year? Anyway, this feature was carried over, meaning that now I can do something like this. Or maybe something like this. Wait, what about...
Checkmate, Sonic. Hope you said your goodbyes. That little part of the bottle looks fishy. I'll try it out that.
Oh, now we're talking.
No! Stay back!
Oh my god.
Oh yeah, that's right, baby.
Now, that covers all the changes specifically related to the Recomp, but while I'm on the topic of the Werehog, I actually want to talk about it a bit more really quickly. See, for me personally, the Werehog is kinda like that one meme of the two dudes on the bus. We have, on the left, thinking about playing the Werehog. Ugh, god, I can't believe I gotta play a Werehog level. Can't I just play more daytime levels instead? But then, once you actually get past the whiplash of changing gameplay styles, you have the right side, actually playing the Werehog, where you think, wait, hang on, this is actually fun as hell. Yeah, I actually quite like the Werehog, as it turns out. Even the level I once despised so heavily, Arid Sands Act 1, is actually kind of manageable if you just get better at it or level up. I mean, I still fucking hate those hornets, but I don't know, just get a can of Raid or something. Over-reliance on the QuickTime events is whatever, but at least you get to hit enemies with them. I've certainly come around a lot on the Werehog. Sure, I'd take most dedicated and/or better beat-em-ups / hack-and-slashes any day of the week, but I kinda like how a Sonic game so obviously wears its God of War influences on its sleeve. Daytime stages are also always great, and better than ever to play, thanks to the technical improvements. I can't believe I'm playing Jungle Joyride Day without the frame rate having the worst stroke of all time. It feels like Christmas Day. With that said, for all the ways that I really like Unleashed more now, it is not a perfect game, or even among the best Sonic games for me. It's top 10 material, don't get me wrong, but there are mild annoyances that add up, like the tornado levels, progression, and certain enemies being more frustrating than others to fight. fight. I would also add homing attack being mapped to the boost button to that list, but as it turns out, I've actually gotten too used to it to try anything else for the time being. If I had to settle on a score for Unleashed now, I'd go with an 8.5 out of 10, roughly translating to a low 8 here. If for whatever reason that sounds too low for you, consider that it was previously a 6 out of 10. I have Unleashed recompiled to thank for this revelation though. If you're a Sonic fan with a good enough PC, you have no reason not to try this. All you need is a backup of Unleashed that you can obtain from a real copy of the game, physical or digital, which I do own, but seeing as a lot of people might not have access to that anymore, well, you can figure that one out on your own. I know I'll be continuing to play this with each new update, and honestly just to have fun with it. Unleashed fans, I'm happy to have been humbled and learned how much I can still enjoy this game. The only question that remains is, when will I finally play Unleashed? Thanks for watching this video, y'all have yourselves a good day, or night, and take care.